chance. Coffee, what's up? Okay, I'm gonna get this fired up and rolling. So this is the first episode, interview, storytelling of Unsheathed, featuring myself, Tyler Heisey. Right off the bat, to presence this, especially since this is going to be recorded. Unsheathed, the intent behind it is storytelling. Every single one of us has a story to tell, or life. If you choose to do so or not, that's up to you. With Unsheathed, it is a opportunity for individuals to share their story. It is an opportunity for others to listen and maybe learn a thing or two. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into this. This one is just myself. I don't have any guest speakers or anything. What's up, bud? Just saw you log on. So with that being said, the general context of Unsheathed is going over who the individual is, what their past is, where they're at today, and the meat and potatoes behind this is talking about the trials and tribulations that they have experienced, if they're willing to share. That way, viewers like yourself might learn a thing or two. So, as I mentioned, my name is Tyler. I was in the Marines for 7 years. I was infantry, 2711, and Wounded Warriors. I got to go out to the Pacific. I got to go to Afghanistan. And I had plenty of experiences through those 7 years, as you can imagine. During my time in this service, I intended to make a career out of it. It was my passion. I wanted to hit 20 plus or die trying, literally. Clearly, I'm still here. During my time in the service, besides going multiple places, meeting a plethora of different people, I realized that there was a lot of experiences that I had in the service that started to fuel a fire inside of me. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. So, I was in for 7. I got out through Wounded Warriors. I was married, kids. When I got out of the service, left California, I moved back to the suburbs in Chicago. And having 3 kids at the time, being married, my first objective was to get a job. Take care of the family, obviously. I initially was working at a distribution plant for cold foods, and it was like negative 10, 30 degrees, killed the body. Did it for about 7 months. Then I ended up working at a vehicle manufacturing plant. During my time at the vehicle plant, I was a dad, a father, a student, and a shift manager. That's what I'm going to call it. During my time immediately out of the service, there was a lot of things that I was dealing with, and I wasn't aware of some of them. Some of them what's up, buddy? Some of the things that I was dealing with, I was unaware of. Some of the other things I was essentially just shoving down and living the 1950s mentality of working in a factory, raising your family. I had the amazing opportunity to work anywhere from 60 to 100 hours a week. And based on the launch of different vehicles, depended if it turned into a mini deployment working at the plant. So I'm working full time. I'm a dad. I'm a husband, homeowner, got a dog. going to school, starting my bachelor's degree. I initially started my degree, which is in small business management. I wanted to open up a rifle range out in the Midwest, something that was similar to the things that I got to experience with long range, close quarters, things like that. During the first couple years after the service, I felt very alienated with my family back home, my local friends. I essentially fell out of contact with a lot of buddies I served with immediately. To add to that, and this is all building up for something, as I was living this, what I like to refer to as a 1950s mentality, a lot of my friends were losing the fight back home, all the mental battles. A lot of guys were throwing in the towels and stuff. And I'm not going to go into any sort of specifics on anything, on any episode of Unsheathed, because the last thing I want to do is unintentionally trigger someone. Just PSA. So with a lot of my friends dropping at the cyclic, essentially, with me dealing with feeling like I got fired since I got medically retired, dealing with traumas of past, nightmares, anger issues, the emotional flak jacket. It was essentially the perfect storm. Hashtag Mark Wahlberg. For roughly a 6-month period, I would think it was 2018. Yeah. Within about 6 months span, something happened at one of my jobs. And I think it was a song in particular, and I don't remember what song it is. Something clicked in my brain and my proverbial circuit breaker blew. That's what I'm going to call it. And within like 6-7 months, I had excessive amounts of alcohol. I was fighting. I tried to throw in the towel a few times and failed miserably. Thank God. And essentially what happened was, during that time of not wanting to, not knowing how to ask for help, not wanting to deal with the pain, the distaste I had for myself, for how I was around my kids, during that entire time period of rock bottom, essentially, somehow, fortunately for me, and I'm sharing this to get this out of the way, my mom actually coordinated with a organization out here in the Chicagoland area, and I ended up going to a inpatient program strictly for veterans. And it was 3 weeks, and during that time, we did a lot of like the standard mental health work, like CBT, CPT, group therapy, things like that. And during the time that I was in this inpatient, one thing that I never took seriously when I was at Wounded Warriors was the group therapy. And when I was going through this group therapy and talking to individuals that were very similar experiences, I realized that there was a lot of common ground, in the sense that a lot of people don't like to talk about their problems, and people would rather shove that stuff down and just keep blazing forward in their own way. And having the ability to talk to these different dudes and see the commonalities, it made me realize that I wasn't the only one going through stuff. So I got out of the inpatient, went back to the job, and during that time, the job, since they were aware of what was going on, put me into a different area within the plant, a little less stressful, I think. And coming out of that intensive treatment, I learned, first and foremost, that my kids were at the center of my planet, and I can confidently say a lot of parents like to place their kids on a pedestal. And what I mean by that, if there's any parents listening to this, our children are important, but we have to love ourselves first in order to be a better parent. And that's something I didn't realize. I thought my kids were the center. And coming out of that inpatient, I realized that I had to do a lot of work on myself to learn some of these things I was dealing with. And crazy enough, one of the first things I did was file for a divorce. And like I said, I'm not going to go into specifics. There's no point. But I realized that the relationship itself was not built properly, the foundation. And I had to step away from her to figure out who I was, to enforce my own boundaries, to essentially etch a sketch my life besides the kids. And today I'm divorced. I see my kids. And that is a whole nother topic unto itself. But the point of what I'm saying is having the ability for myself in my situation to file for a divorce was one of the hardest things I ever did. And looking back on every single experience I've had in my life, I am 100% grateful for all of it, because it's made me who I am today, and I love who I am. So, filed the divorce, did the job. During that time, I wasn't in school because I was dealing with all the soiree in my head. Ended up leaving that plant, and I started working at a sales job. Funny enough, super quick story. At the sales job, I was selling safety equipment, such as the N95 masks that we have now. And I was fired a couple weeks before this whole thing happened. While I'm talking about what's going on the planet. So that was very funny. All of that out of the way, where I am today. Like I said, I'm divorced. I talk to my kids. I see my kids as often as I'm able to. And I am continuing to build up who I am and the life I want. And some of the means in which I'm doing that is I am back in school. I am finishing my undergrad small business degree. I am getting ready to start my admissions process for my master's for psychology, because I love the mind, not the brain, just the mind. I started Back Asthma Solutions, which I'll talk about. Active in my own mental health therapy, always, consistently. I have my own life coach, shout out if you're on here. And that individual is amazing. Active working out, active with different hobbies, and I try to work with the community as much as I possibly can, because at the end of the day, especially when it comes to Back Asthma Solutions and my education, I want to consistently grow and learn about myself, so I am able to share as much appropriate things as possible to anyone that wants to listen. Because at the end of the day, if I have the ability to have any human, not preferably a military person in particular, if they have the chance to hear my story, talk to me, work with me, whatever the capacity is, and learn one sentence that can change their life, that means the world to me. Because I don't play the I don't play the what if card anymore, but if I was to talk to my former self, the one thing that would have benefited me the most was community. And that's a big reason why I'm doing a lot of this. So, where to go from there? I'm going to talk about Back Asthma Solutions right off the bat. as I have continued to invest in myself and living the best life that I can, set up smart, obtainable goals for future aspirations. As I began to invest in myself, starting with therapy, mental health therapy, I first and foremost realized that I did not have all the answers. No one does, not even the professionals. And coming out of that inpatient program that I was in, I realized that it is very necessary to delegate certain things in your life, because you cannot be expected to perform optimal 100% of the time. And it is advantageous to find the appropriate healthy individuals in your life that can provide assistance in some capacity. And what I mean by that is, if you have a mental health therapist, that person is assisting you with certain topics. And if you have a coach, a life coach, a fitness coach, nutrition coach, you are delegating things that you care about to someone that devotes their life to that topic. And those individuals work with you to give you that six-pack ab, or teach you how to eat like a rabbit, or teach you how to be the best version of yourself and break former chains that have bound you to the ground. And as I was going through a more focused mental health path with my therapy, I realized that there's other aspects of my life that I was not truly content with, i.e. physically and emotionally. And what I mean by emotionally was, I was stuck on certain things in my life. Like, for example, when I got out of my divorce, the emotional flak jacket and trauma from that relationship, and I'm not even talking bad about her, I'm just calling the kettle black. I put up a lot of different types of defense due to that, and I realized that my emotional state, my emotional flak jacket, my inability to be vulnerable with another partner, I couldn't really understand it. And that was one of the things that motivated me to pursue my coach. And my coach will get a shout out from this. She's going to get another shout out on another video. So with me wanting to create Back Asthma Solutions, it was another concept I had for how I could work with the community. And at the end of the day, I am a life coach. I don't personally like that term. I like to think of Overwatch, because coaches are cheerleaders. I am simply in an elevated position, guiding you down your patrol to whatever your objective is. And through BAS, I have the ability to work with individuals one-on-one, to work on various different subjects, be it communication skills, how to change your mental lens, think photography, how to see things different, gratitude, compassion, letting things go, professional development. I mean, the individuals I talk to, it is a shotgun blast of different topics, but it's things that are stuck points or things that light them up, that for whatever reason they don't have the ability to have financial independence, and they're seeking someone that can guide them somehow. And that's just the one-on-one, the spotter team. In March, I am green-lighting 3 different group courses that'll have the option to have multiple people in it. I will have one that is very blackout, no faces, very private, and that's just like this, discussions. Then the other 2 are geared towards other things. This Unsheathed as I mentioned at the start of the video, a lot of people like to talk about war, conflict, where they are today, where they want to be, and the intention behind Unsheathed, like the name, is to take the blade out, where you can talk about certain subjects, because at the end of the day, there's people out there that are on Instagram at 2 o'clock in the morning because they had a night terror, and they might have the availability to stumble on one of the Unsheathed episodes and learn about my suicide, and it could help them. So it's another more in-depth and raw, bloody, in a way, discussion. Okay, so Unsheathed, one-on-one, the group. I have the monthly challenges. If anyone's on here, I can't see the little number from where I'm sitting. If anyone's on here that's part of the challenge, make sure you get it done this week. Every month, BAS is going to have a challenge. And last month, it was a hydration challenge where individuals had to consume at least 2 bottles a day of water, not alcohol. This month, it's a walking challenge. So going out for 1 hour, going out for 1 hour to walk outside. And during that hour, it's essentially a chance for you to put your phone away, because this thing is very distractible, and it's a chance to be outdoors, to get some fitness in, to maybe spend some time with your thoughts, maybe just being out in nature and being grateful for the fact that all that shit that you've survived, you're still here walking in subarctic temperatures, trying not to get pneumonia. And on the plus note, I'm going to just drop this right now. If you're doing the challenge, surprise, for everyone that holds themselves accountable and does the walking challenge this month, if you complete it and you're authentic and actually follow through, I will be sending you a BAS journal and some stickers, which will lead to next month, which is going to be a writing challenge. And it's going to be a fun writing challenge. I'm not the most artistic on creative prompts, but I've been reaching out to some awesome mentors in the writing world that are going to provide some great topics. And it's not all, BAS is not all negativity and trauma and stuck points for the masses. This is essentially this will become, since I'm in Chicago, the center, the hub of resources. So if you're doing the challenge, if you heard that, keep it a secret. Don't say anything. Thank you. Other than that, today, where I'm at today, so I've got BAS going. It's going well. It's going slow. Entrepreneurship takes a whole lot of practice. If you are one, you get it. Practice and patience, humility. So I'm doing BAS. I am my second to last semester for my undergrad, going through the admissions process for my master's. Ominous dominus, I'm going to need it. I like to work out, take care of my body. I like to eat clean. I am naturally a lazy person. I'm assuming most people are. And I wrote up a green light and a red light during the week of what not to do. And what I mean by that, and I have it up on my wall, like during the week, no electronics for the sake of entertainment. And what I mean by that is like no TV, no video games, anything like that. And it's another way to hold myself accountable. And instead of doing those things, I focus on reading or working on my penmanship, because I feel that cursive is a failing art, and I've seen a lot of people's chicken scratch, and Indiana Jones would struggle with it. So I try to do different things to expand what I'm not comfortable with, but can make myself better, while being focused on all my different tasks. And with the penmanship, with the reading, the fitness, walking outdoors, staying hydrated, photography, all these little things are different tools I use to keep myself regimented in a productive way, and understanding that I have days where I slip up or I just have a really bad day. And I'm human. I have my experiences. Things bring me down. But I have these things in place. That way I can be better prepared for the dip if it happens. If you are in the military and you are watching this, there is an organization out there that I'm a part of. It is called Patrol Base Abate. So for the military members, hopefully you get the terminology, civilians, non-military people, you can also get involved in this. So I'm going to explain it really quick, just for the sake of the organization. It's near and dear to my heart. Patrol Base Abate was created a year ago, a little over a year, by a major that is active duty currently in the Marine Corps. And the name itself, Abate, is named after one of his guys who passed away overseas in 2010. And PB Abate is essentially a organization that brings all military members together. And if you are from the military demographic, you know that there are a lot of organizations out there like Wounded Warrior Project that are tailored towards the wounded or the super awesome Special Forces guys. PB Abate removes those restrictions, and as long as you raise your hand and honorably served or are active duty, you can be a part of the PB. And there's local chapters all over the country. We have chapters in Australia, Japan, Hawaii, Alaska, so we're expanding. And the different chapters provide different types of hobbies. So maybe in Chicago, the Chicago chapter here does yoga. They have worked out. They've gone out to eat. They've gone on hikes. They supported one of the local members that is into the Hulk Hogan, Dwayne Johnson, WWE style fighting. The interest-based clubs in the PB are a variety of different hobbies, from working out to mixed martial arts to writing to reading to cooking. And then the local chapters bridge the gap where members can do these things. The actual patrol base is out in Montana. My buddy John owns the land out there and has offered the PB the option to use it. If you saw the reel that I shared today, it was from that. So Patrol Base Abate, awesome organization. I help at the administrative levels of higher. If you're a civilian and you want to provide some assistance, if you go on the website, you can get involved as well, even if you didn't serve. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to sign up, the best way to share things is word of mouth. So if you didn't serve, talk about it. Other than that, this was my brief introduction to who I am, and these videos are going to be coming. I have about 15 people that are green lights for Unsheathed. I got about another 15 that I have to bring up. I recorded one earlier today with a buddy that I'm going to upload later in a week or two. And this is an invitation for you. Excuse me. If you, military, non-military, if you feel that your story can help someone, send me a DM. Humans are meant to connect with one another. Me personally, I love talking to people. I love strangers because it's a brand new book I get to read. And if you feel that your story could help someone and you essentially want to be vulnerable and transparent for this, drop me a DM. I would love to talk to you. And if you want to do this, we can do it. So to close on this whole thing, one thing that I want to bring up at the end of every talk with someone is some lessons of note, some things to share with others. And I will share multiple things throughout various segments, but I will share one piece right now because it holds true to me. If you're a civilian, you should be able to understand this. When you were in the military, you were never alone. You were never on a patrol in Afghanistan by yourself. You were never in the motor pool fixing Humvees by yourself. You were never in the office writing reports by yourself. Most of the time, 99% of everyone in the military this relates to. With the fact that you always had supporting assets with you, and I'm going to use a patrol analogy, why would you get out of the service and go on a new patrol, essentially by yourself? Because at the end of the day, if you joined the military at 17 or 25 and spent 4 years or 20 years, you have so many supporting assets during that time, regardless of your experience, if you like it or not. There's people constantly in your life. How can you expect to go on the patrol today, afterwards, and not step on a firecracker? Something called life, something unexpected that occurs. If you don't have other people in your squad and you step on a firecracker, you're going to get wounded. And it's life. Everybody gets wounded all the time. I got wounded today. My knee popped when I was lifting. That was fun. If you're by yourself, like how I was, because I was afraid to reach out to people because they were constantly dying. If you're by yourself and you get wounded, you're alone. How are you going to tend to that wound? You can't. That's why you need people in your squad on your patrol on life. And if for any reason you are struggling with something, blast as many texts and calls and DMs as you can. And someone will respond that says something that could completely change your life. And that happened to me at one point. I reached out to a buddy, and I don't remember what he said, but it gave me enough traction to move forward. And that's all that I needed, and that's all that any of us need whenever we're in a tough spot. So, this patrol called life, you can't do it by yourself. You're not that badass. We're all humans. Yeah. So, this is episode 1, interview 1, whatever you want to call it. And I will be posting this in the near future. Whoever's online right now, the one person, do you have any questions or anything before I close this up? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you for your time. And if you need to talk, if you are curious about BAS coaching, if you're curious about Unsheathed, the group courses, whatever, drop me a DM. I'm always here for you.